Okay, hello and welcome back to another episode of Track Talk. Today we are joined by Alpha Leonis. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty well. How you doing?
Well, that smiley face is telling a different story, but I'm gonna go with the voice. So today we're talking about what we could almost deem to be a retro track in a sense. Or this track was named "Guess Who's Back," and Alpha, tell me the history of this track because I know this took like 2 years to make or something, right?
All right. So disclaimer here. Technically, it finished in 2 years, but that was like juggling between like school, work, shit. So I probably put like maybe 4 or 5 hours a week into this. So not really 2 years per se. I probably could have done it in like a few months to half a year if I really wanted to just get it done. But I had a lot of motivational issues to get it done. Yeah, it was just kind of like something I worked on the side. Because
Fair
again, I
enough.
did start this when I was like 23, 24. So, real life kind of gets in the way sometimes.
Hmm.
But this was originally just the boredom killer that I started. This was when I kind of just started getting into LRA. This entire section, I still kind of played it like it was Flash Player. So the only thing I really used to my advantage was Lifelock, especially for like the Cramuel stuff. But aside from that, I pretty much just played it like I was Flash Player. Didn't really start syncing to music, which is why it was like slightly off until where is it here? Till about up here for this row right here, so I could sync to the woman's voice to the tail manual.
Oh yeah.
And then from there, that's kind of what made me want to just sync to the rest of the song because I love
Yeah.
the song anyway. It's a great song.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
and yeah, so that's kind of how the whole thing started.
Sweet. So, did you have any particular goal in mind, or was it just to just explore Line Rider?
Well, my goal in Line Rider from the get go was to explore Line Rider anyway. I did go over it under a different alias. The hint in that would be my name. My first name is Mark, so I am Cramwood for those who were wondering. Um, yeah, so I've always had an interest in kind of figuring out the game, but this one was just kind of a fun track of my own just to do. I didn't really put much behind it. I do think the song does represent something of how I felt with the community, but aside from that, it was just a fun track I did in my spare time. So,
Sweet. So, yeah, why don't you take us through some of the sections that you'd really like to discuss?
um, so I mean, I don't really have much to really say about each one. I think the only thing I can really say is about how I approach the game.
Sure.
I feel like that was always misunderstood throughout the years, and me being antisocial and not really understanding how to talk to people at the time could never really fully explain it to people. But
Yeah.
what made me want to continue the track the most, I guess, ultimately, was the fact that whenever I could play it back to myself, I imagined it continuing in my head without it actually being there on the screen. So I don't know. It's really hard to explain because I don't know where I draw my inspiration from. It just kind of comes as I go.
Yeah.
Uh, but what really interests me in finishing a track is when I can see the track before I even make it, and that's kind of what this track was in a way. Um, Part of the things that inspired me were definitely Sheldon Dapp, Chuggers. They've been my friends for a long time. So,
Oh yeah.
long story short, they kind of pushed me a little bit back into the game. Essentially, the reason why I think mainly some of the stuff they've done in their XYZ stuff and just their approach towards the game. Anyway, they're kind of tryhards, and I'm kind of a tryhard myself. So, um, but yeah, all of this was pretty much kind of my own style. I was just this section right here, the first work section. Probably know a lot of people who are original Line Rider players before LRA came up would probably notice that this was me before I even said something, and some of them did. Some of them could call me out already, so I don't blame them. But yeah,
I'm pretty sure this is like semi Gigacork style, I guess.
Yeah, yes and no. I was doing a lot of this stuff in Flash beforehand, so with
It's
the
a bit
exception of a lot of
ridiculous, I
the
gotta say.
with the exception of some of the Cramuel stuff, I was doing this in like this whole section is kind of like Joy of Motionist kind of stuff. With the exception of maybe like this stack here, I probably wouldn't have been able to do, or this stack here.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Maybe
Yeah.
this one. Maybe this one. I wouldn't have created it such like this with perfectly straight lines. It would have been a lot of dots, but
Yeah, that's what you
essentially the
used
same
in
concept.
like,
Yeah,
another car.
yeah. And then these Cramuel tricks right here. So let me see if I can, like the diagonal Cramuel stuff.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, it was not really feasible in Line Rider.
Yeah, it's not worth the time.
Flash. Well, I got one. I got one.
Yeah.
And Kevin has tried to tell me it wasn't a real Cramuel, but we'll leave it at that. So.
Oh, and for those who are wondering, the third voice you hear is Arglen, who's rejoined us.
Yeah, hello.
Episode.
Sorry, I'm just sneaking in here.
Yeah, this track is hella cool. So one of the things. Go ahead, yeah.
Sorry, I this is when I really started trying to sync as like perfectly as possible. So it is very off, but I was trying to do like complex tricks at the same time while doing it, so it kind of made it difficult, but
yeah,
you know, a little difficult. But
it came out seriously crazy.
Yeah,
in the end.
It came out really well. So
yeah. All right. Did you have a question? Sorry.
Yeah, going back, there was a Cramuel there which had a lot of. It's like right before a Cramuel cannon. There was a flat section with a lot of like gravity wells, like pulling it horizontally. Oh yeah, there it is. Go back a little. Oh, where was it?
Yeah, go forward.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that one. That's something I haven't seen very often. Is that just you basically just stacking something in the same position? Like, how does that work?
What do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean.
Okay. Can you turn on contact points and hit test? Just turn on everything.
Yeah, zoom in on that.
Yeah. Actually, can you also turn on momentum vectors just for the hell of it?
Yeah. I actually don't use those yet.
Us new players
Seriously?
depend on them.
No, I don't use them.
So what is this?
Yeah, what is that thing that's like attached to the big horizontal line? Like those
that's something I haven't seen very often. Oh, so you
these are just string, these are just exaggerated string
Oh wow. Yeah. Those are okay.
I didn't realize
actually,
that
the first person I saw do this was Pure 5152. Like
really?
Maybe like 6 or 7 years ago, yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. I don't think anyone does that anymore. That's cool stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, people do them, but they do them in chains now. So like, it's not really seen. It's not really seen as like something you do from like a really low speed to start. Put it that way.
Yeah. It looks really aesthetically pleasing for some reason.
Yeah, that is cool. That looks like something you could actually chain on a horizontal.
That's a chain fling, I think. That's a mix of a chain and a fling.
What, this?
Yeah, like you're using a tail. That's a tail chain and then hand and foot fling. I think.
Close. So let me turn off hit test for this one.
They're both hands, aren't they? It's split hands.
Yeah. It's just.
Wow.
But if you look closely, these lines are actually facing the other way.
So
that was just to balance it, I guess. I don't remember, but that trick's definitely possible.
But now it's like afterwards is a chain and a fling.
Yeah, chain and a dual fling.
Yeah.
Got both the third position hand and.
That is incredible.
Yeah, people don't experiment much with ASDFs or like dual chain strings anymore. It's kind of sad. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something that I'd never tried to mix between chain and the fling together.
Yeah, I did a little bit of experimental stuff in Cranajam, but to be honest, like people don't really use flings that much. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lost art now. It's kind of funny because Fling Quirk used to be the most satisfying thing you could watch.
Yeah.
But now it's like Giga Quirk is like, oh my god, this is so sick. Which I agree, it's sick. Don't get me wrong, I think it's sick. But
Yeah.
I do
But
miss
at the
this
same
stuff.
time, it's like now like a thing that just people do.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
mean,
like restricted.
this is one of the reasons why your track stood out, to be honest, because you kind of posted this right in the middle of what I've kind of deemed the year of the manual, or like the manual renaissance, because we had like this string of insane manual tracks, and then we had this like kind of like harkening back to kind of like blink work and stuff that you put out, which was kind of awesome to see.
This is dual ASDF. I don't know if you're interested in that, but
Sure.
string bottom and then individual hands each well. So
Oh, yeah. That's nasty.
yeah.
Yeah, I've always had an interest in incredibly strong flings, but outside of that, I don't think I've really experimented that much.
Well, ASDFs are exactly how you get those flings super strong. So
Yeah,
really venture into that.
yeah, I've done quite a few like granule ASDFs, I think, or all flings. I'm never that sure on the terminology, to be honest.
Yeah, you guys can go ahead with any more questions if you want. I don't really have much more to say. So
Sure. Is there anything you particularly want to draw attention to in this track, Arglen? And Arglen has died. Okay. Well, one of the things that I normally like to ask in these track talks is there anything in this track that you're unsatisfied with?
this section right here is coming up, the
Oh, yeah.
first manual section. I hate it so much. It's so bad.
Aw.
Like, it started out okay, but then as soon as I stopped really, I guess, caring about how
Yeah.
well the actual granules looked, or the actual how clean it looked, it started kind of going downhill. This was okay. I liked this a lot. This was pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty balanced.
But then the next one kind of shat all over that one, so.
Aw.
And then the beginning, I literally decided I was going to learn an XYZ in this track for some reason. I don't know why I was going to do it. The first
Yeah.
section of this, until about maybe here, is
Yeah.
pretty bad. But, yeah.
Oh, that was another part with one of those insane Cramule stop pulls to the left. That was
Jesus.
pretty cool.
And then more X. That shoulder fling.
Yeah, I was the one that came up with that. Way back when. It was actually in a
Really?
collab. You can go see the first one.
Oh,
if you
that's
want
my
to.
favorite part in the track. That bit where the Cramule gets caught
Yeah.
in midair and shunted off to the left. That shit is awesome.
Yeah. Wait, was that like a weird? Was that a foot pinch or something earlier?
You've never seen that?
Like I've seen it before, but I never understood how it actually works.
It's a tail and shoulder pinch. Tail,
That's weird.
shoulder.
That's
It is
interesting.
weird.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it kind of stabilizes itself. That is weird.
Huh.
The
Interesting.
reason why there are gaps in this one, though, is because I didn't take the time to actually balance it. So, like, if you don't balance it correctly, there's the nose, hand, bottom nose, foot, and from the other side of it, the second peg can get in the way of actually keeping this pinch alive.
Yeah, I've done like the opposite
Very
version of
good.
that pinch, I think.
Spring, then the bottom nose on this one, and then bottom nose again on that one would have fucked it up. So, oh, sorry, I don't know if this is kid friendly. Sorry.
Nah, don't worry about it, bro. You can say whatever you want on this show.
You're right. But yeah. I think the other one you're talking about here is here. The other. No, it's not.
Oh, that's a pretty cool ass pull, though.
Where is the other one?
Oh, there it is. I just saw it a second ago. Yeah, that was it.
No, that's
Oh,
not.
no, that wasn't it. Nah,
That's just.
it's not one of those
That's
things.
just stack. It's just
Yeah.
a full stack.
What is that? Is that like a hypercramule or something?
So, I don't know what DAP describes this as, but I think DAP originally came up with it. I'm not sure. But
It's like
it's
a
essentially a
hypercramule.
cramule. It's just one, instead of having it be like a flanule like I had made it before. It's just one big stack, like it's all one frame.
Wow. I can never understand how that even works.
Yeah, I've
And
never
it's
been
all
able to
blue.
make those survive personally.
It just gets even more impressive with the fact that it's all blue, and it's just like
Yeah.
That's what I tried to do with Crystallize, but it was really hard to make it all blue. Like, and keep the same consistency throughout the entire section of that. So I think I stopped somewhere around like the first
I just
few...
The one
after
red.
like no for me like that one. Oh yeah.
There's two. There's
But
one there, and then yeah, here.
once you crystallize file, I just went all out red.
Yes.
I think the one you're talking. No, that's the same
That's
one.
the bit that I like. That looks so cool visually when you actually play the
Oh,
track.
just all granules. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it stalls slightly and then just kaboom away.
That's one of my favorite bits, to be honest.
This is my favorite bit of this section.
Ooh.
The music
Oh
here.
yeah, that's like wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
an interesting little thing.
Na, 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 na.
You paused
this is when I first figured out that you could do this.
Oh yeah.
This is when it's like, oh, well, this is kind of broken.
Yeah, it's interesting mathematical dilemma
Yeah,
going on there.
it's kind of how you end up making blue singularity cannons in a way.
Yeah.
Back here. This is when I started kind of losing momentum. Sheldon and Dap and Chugs and Anton definitely helped me out through this section.
Pushed you through?
So yeah,
Shout
like
out,
this
boys.
manual honestly would not exist without Sheldon. So it's like, hey,
So I suppose big shout out to them.
This orientation, yeah, no, they've been great friends. So
Good lads.
I like how like if you zoom out, it's just nothing. It's like the only things you mostly see are just giant horizontal and vertical lines. It's like this like pretty much kicks back to like the really old style like tracks.
Yeah.
Like when
Let's
Quirk was at its peak, pretty much.
It's always kind of been my thing anyway. Like, even like when I was kind of like the innovator of a lot of things, I would always take things back and I would remember like small things like slag wells. I don't know if you guys remember what that is, or like
single
old
line anti-gravity
tricks.
walls.
Yeah, like old tricks. I would try and bring those back just for the hell of it.
That's cool.
But that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my new track. I'm trying to make everything the same but newer. I don't know.
Yeah, great. Become the retro
really
god.
It's really hard. This part was just filler, just so I can get to the next part, honestly.
Yeah.
The chorus is kind of, well... Oh, this was a fun one.
Whoa. So is that like that's a butt and foot fling?
Yeah.
Dang. That's actually... People actually create some really ridiculous things back then.
It only really works in this orientation, though. It doesn't really work in the orientation.
Yeah, I can see that.
You can technically loop this. It just takes for freaking ever. There's no rotation on the butt. So it just kind of does whatever it wants. Yeah.
Also, that's an ASDF.
Yeah.
And then a foot chain.
This is just a chain.
And then
this is when I started
and then
actually taking apart ham.
A fakey chain.
This is when I actually started taking apart ham. So, yeah.
Wow, that's really soon. And then a butt only. Oh god.
This is an upwards pulled butt fling. This was originally like one of the hardest swings you could do in Flash.
Well, it's a butt. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Just the orientation as well, because to keep them balanced like this. Not easy.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, try and do it in Flash. I dare you. It's not as easy as it looks in Flash.
I'm comfortable with my tools.
Is this blue 6 iteration or?
Yeah, it is.
Nice. I love that.
This isn't real.
And then a flannel thingy.
This isn't real. Look.
This isn't real.
No, I'm dead serious. It's not real.
Yeah, it's just
Oh, so that's what you mean, is it? Oh, okay.
just a fling.
That's a no contact roll because it's so easy to do now. Before it was like the hassle to try and get no contact wells.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, I can do it, so whatever. And then we get into this part. This was my favorite part to make in this entire track.
Oh,
Because it's
gee.
everything. This is pretty much my wet dream of Line Rider like 7 years ago.
Wow.
Like, not even joking.
yeah, it's pretty dense.
Like you pretty much like took Ham but made it prettier.
Yeah. Yeah, it is pretty refined.
just wow. There's like that's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, they get pretty easy after you do a lot of them.
Yep, they do.
I started cleaning these up too because this looks gross.
Mm,
Like I
yeah.
started seeing now. You see the difference now? You
Oh, yeah.
can definitely shorten them and stuff to make them to your. See, that's one right there. You notice?
Yeah, I do that myself.
Yeah.
Like some of them you can get to like barely dots, which is pretty nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're winding up to the grand finale here.
Yeah.
Oh
This
yeah.
I figured this out, but I'm like, you know what? This is try and spice it up, and so that's why I decided I was going to draw these lines over and try and recycle the inside of it and the outside of it. Didn't get the bottom half though, but
Yeah, that's still
these
sweet.
just it makes it look so much cooler.
Yeah,
Like
boy.
this part, like the original part of this trick is just like, oh wow, he did that. That's pretty cool. But
Mhm.
then it's just like, okay, now you're just what are you doing? What are you doing? Not supposed to be like
This isn't supposed to be done.
that. Here, I think there's kind of a gap in inspiration between after that and then. So yeah, pretty much right after that. This is all like. There was a section here where it was all singularities or something like that.
Oh yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. From there onwards, right until like I recycled it, that was like my only bit of inspiration. So I kind of just let it go for a little bit.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That's why the style completely changed from here onwards. You can see it's definitely less messy, I guess.
Yeah. To be honest, the whole track is pretty
It's
clean.
definitely a lot more clean. Man, people used to yell at me for being messy like that, dude. Like, you think that's clean? People used to yell at me for being that messy.
Lol.
They used to be like, it's not clean. There are a lot of these lines are unnecessary. I'm like, but they're totally necessary.
They're necessary to annoy you with.
But yeah. Hand out fling roll.
Yeah, boy.
People don't alt fling roll anymore either, dude. Alt
People
fling roll is a sick trick.
people just don't do flings in general anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, see, the whole track style is completely different now.
Oh yeah, getting more cramuly. Oh yeah, I love that stuff. Like any like ridiculously
Wow,
overpowered
this
fling.
one's
Those are
actually
just
pretty
stacks.
good.
Yeah,
These are actually pretty good.
I'm pretty sure you use some of those in Crystallize as well.
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of the stuff,
overpowered
a lot of
Actually,
stuff
you
here
know
is
what? Now
actually
that I'm remembering this, I started Crystallize probably about after I was done with this. Not
okay.
started, I continued it because I was like working on it as like at the same time I was working on this one part.
Yeah.
So, because I felt like I needed to learn more about the game if I wanted to actually think as well as I wanted to.
Yeah.
I did. Let's see, is Catch back up here?
Yeah, that's something I think
Just
people.
basic ASDF stuff.
Yeah. I think that does get kind of lost. Like people don't take the time to experiment enough.
I think
Well,
the
that
main
was
reason
my-
why is because of the fact that it's so incredibly just difficult to do to the point where like it's not really worth it.
Yeah.
It's like only like it takes several months to just like do a couple frames, something like that.
Yeah,
You're first learning it.
like that
This
that
one's-
track Bacon, that was just the biggest expression of
Yeah.
doing pointless things for the sake of doing them.
Yeah. What's the acronym for bacon again? I forgot.
I think it was Sheldon had a great acronym for it. I'll have to look it up on the actual file.
I guess you can just like put it on screen and later on.
I think it's in the description for the actual video.
Oh, this was anything high speed I do is like inspired by Edge, and this is why I did this shoulder fling here. I should have made the lines longer to like accentuate that, but
Oh yeah.
anything high speed, I automatically just go back to hedgehogs for me, because that's like one of the first like real high speeds that I ever watched that I thought was extremely entertaining. So yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
by the way,
always have
bacon
to do a
means
shoulder fling.
bacon means better in crafter overall nonsense.
Oh yeah, that was the name.
Trademark.
It was amazing.
Okay, so which direction are we going? Okay, so we're going that way. Foot roll. Also a hedgehog for me thing.
Yeah, boy.
This is like an SCG kind of fling, AST.
That's an interesting one you got.
Well, this is an old one.
Yeah.
This is like
It's a clean one though.
this was like before like Vision kind of ASDF. This was like not before, like right after Vision, because SCG made his track in response to that Vision video.
Yeah.
So
Like the only ASDF I've ever made was just like the nose in the string, and that was it.
I'm actually not as good as those as I used to. I used to make some really clean ones without foot stablers and flash.
They were for me. They're hard.
They are hard, and that was like one of the first tricks I realized iterations existed on. Actually, back in Flash, like I knew they existed, but we didn't have any. We didn't know. Like people knew they existed. We didn't know what to call them though, and we didn't really like people who knew about it just knew about it. I don't know. So,
Also, can we note the fact that that Bosch is going as like 1.9 thousand pixels per frame?
Oh yeah. It's completely necessary. He just loses 1,000 ppf in a frame, and it's cool.
well, there's a reason for that. Anytime I do high speed, I have to just.
You gotta get him out of a dense area, I guess.
I gotta get him out of the. Well, not that. It's just I like watching him move fast.
Yeah. Right.
So I always
Really good.
try and go to like speed I've never actually quirked at or anything like that before to see if I could do it.
Ah.
That was notable. In, like,
think about it. Singularities pretty much allow any speed.
Exactly.
Almost.
So I'm like, why not? Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, bro.
I managed to I reached like 17 million, and that was it.
But yeah, I know it's not that fast anymore, but it was exciting.
Yeah, sorry, bro. Your paltry 1,000 ppf is worth nothing.
Well, to be fair, it's the first track to ever actually like hold that speed for quite a while.
I don't think many tracks do that.
I don't think so. I thought
Literally,
I thought
there's
most
no other
every
track.
did.
Most tracks don't exceed 500,
I guess.
and usually the only tracks that are really high speed are animations. And that's
yeah,
it.
That's true.
And this is just basic fling quirk.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even worry about stack. I actually went back to playing it like it was Flash again here, and just did this stuff for the most part, except for that really. But
And then
like,
just
it's just other. Yeah.
You know, that might be the next pointless undertaking I make, a track that's entirely composed of stacks. Every single trick, but it's
oh
stacked.
gosh, oh god, it just that would be ridiculous.
Yep.
And this is my classic track ending. This
Yeah, I
probably
like
also
that
gave
one.
you away.
That's smooth.
Where I just throw them up in the air.
Ending.
People hated this.
Seriously?
Call me out on
That's
just yeah.
cool.
People used to call me out and just throwing up in the air and just stalling him all the time.
Dude, like Why?
It's like, you don't know how to end tracks. It's terrible.
Dude, that's like
You could.
I
I don't know if the forum posts exist anymore.
I don't know if
Oh,
I
they
used
to be
exist.
bad.
They exist.
Yeah. But like I just to have a fakie grab into a stall is really awesome, to be honest, in my opinion.
Yeah. I just like the slowdown. It's a nice transition, personally. Sweet. So, unless you have anything else to say, I think that pretty much covers this track in a fair amount of depth.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was the first project in a long time I actually. So that in of itself, I think, was enough to let me, finish the track in general.
Sweet.
Again,
Oh
inspiration.
wow, that's a
A
lot.
lot of motivation. Oh, my asshole. Well, this is years.
100.
Oh, that's the amount of saves. Yeah, 115 saves. It should have been a lot more if I was.
Wow, that's a lot of crash
Mostly-
backups.
Yeah, it is. Again, this was made on 0.3, so
Fair enough.
That's horrible.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know if I really. There was some care to it. Like don't get me wrong, I cared about this track, but there was also not much care to it. To be completely honest.
It was just more like, let's just see how horribly how horrible we can torture Bosch.
Not really like that either. I mean,
Admit it, you're a sadist.
I mean, I could have said that in 2008. So
yeah,
like that's obviously out of the question at this point.
to just keep. It's like, this is no longer Line Rider. It's just Bosch goes everywhere.
It's just pain,
It's pain.
suffering.
Good
But
times.
yeah, I think that'll do it for this episode of Track Talk. Thanks for joining us today, Alpha, and also thanks to Arglen for rejoining us again.
Yep.
And yeah, leave some likes and dislikes on the video. We'll see you next time.
I'm gonna dislike this one.
Hell yeah, bro.
Same.
I'm gonna double dislike.